My first job at the fruit shop. It was a hot summer morning. I was 16 years old. I wanted to earn some money, so I looked for a job. One day, I saw a small fruit shop near my house. The shop was colourful and it smelled like fresh apples and oranges. I walked inside and saw an old man behind the counter. I asked him, "Do you need help?" He looked at me and smiled. "Yes," he said. "Can you start tomorrow?" I nodded quickly. I was happy and a little nervous. It was going to be my first job. The next morning, I wore a clean shirt and walked to the shop. I was early. The old man, Mr. Thomas, opened the door and said, "Good morning, young man." He showed me where the fruits were and how to clean the shelves. He said, "Always smile at the customers. Be kind. That is very important." I listened carefully. I wanted to do well. I didn't know much, but I was ready to learn. My hands were shaking a little, but my heart was full of excitement. That day, I learned how to stack apples, count bananas, and wrap grapes in small bags. I said, "Hello" and "thank you" many times. Some customers were friendly. One old lady gave me a candy and said, "Oh, doing great." At the end of the day, Mr. Thomas gave me some money. He said, "Oh, good job. Come again tomorrow." I walked home with a big smile. It was just the first day, but it felt like the start of something big. The next day, I woke up early again. I was excited to go back to work. I felt more confident than before. I knew what to do now, and I wanted to do better. I reached the shop before it opened. Mr. Thomas was already there. He said, "And today you will work at the front." I was surprised. "Can I do it?" I asked. He smiled and said, "Yes, you can. Just remember to smile." I stood behind the counter and looked at the street. People were walking by, holding bags and talking. Soon the first customer came in. It was a man with a little boy. "Can I get some red apples?" he asked. I picked the best ones and put them in a bag. The boy looked at me and said, "Shy like apples." I laughed and gave him a small one as a gift. More people came. Some wanted oranges, some wanted bananas. I used the scale to weigh the fruit. I gave them change from the money they gave me. At first, it was hard to do the math, but I got better with each customer. At lunchtime, Mr. Thomas gave me a sandwich and a cold drink. We sat on 2 small chairs outside the shop. He told me stories about the shop and his younger days. I liked listening to him. He was kind and patient. That afternoon, a woman came in with a heavy bag. I helped her carry it to her car. She thanked me and said, "Oh, are a good worker." That made me feel proud. I was learning, working, and helping others. It was a good day. That evening, after the shop closed, I walked home feeling both tired and proud. I replayed the day's events in my mind, every task, every smile. I realized I was learning a lot. Each customer had taught me something new about life and numbers. At the shop, I had learned how to weigh fruits accurately and greet everyone with a warm smile. Mr. Thomas had corrected me gently when I made mistakes, and his kind words encouraged me to do better. I began to see that hard work and kindness made even a simple job feel special. On my way home, I passed a small park where children were laughing and playing. I paused for a moment, watching them enjoy the warm summer day. I felt a quiet joy and a sense of accomplishment, knowing that even small lessons could build a better future. That night, as I sat by my window under a sky full of stars, I remembered Mr. Thomas's words, "Every day is a chance to learn something new." I promised myself to keep working hard and to always treat people with kindness. My heart was light and hopeful. I knew this was just the beginning of a long and wonderful journey. The next morning I woke up early again. The sun was bright and the air was warm. I ate a small breakfast and walked to the fruit shop with a smile. I was ready for another day of work. I felt stronger and more confident than the day before. When I arrived, Mr. Thomas was already setting up the fruits outside. He looked at me and said, "Oh, early. That's good." I helped him put the apples in rows and made sure the bananas looked fresh. The shop looked beautiful and colourful. A woman came in with a little boy. He pointed at the grapes and smiled. I helped him choose the best ones. The woman said, "Thank you, young man. You are very kind." Her words made me happy. I felt like I was doing something important, even if it was small. Later, a man came in and asked for oranges. I weighed them and gave him the right change. Mr. Thomas watched me and nodded with a smile. I could tell he was proud. I was proud too. I was learning to do things on my own. By the end of the day, I was tired, but it was a good kind of tired. My hands were a little sore, but my heart was full. I was not just working, I was growing. I was learning how to be strong, how to be helpful, and how to be part of something bigger than myself. After a long day, I helped Mr. Thomas close the shop. We carefully cleaned the counters and put away the remaining fruits. I learned to treat each apple and orange with respect, as if they were little treasures. Mr. Thomas told me, "Every fruit has a story," and I listened with wide eyes. On my way home, I felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Although my hands were tired and sore, my heart was full of pride. I realized that I had learned more than just how to stack fruit. I had learned about responsibility, kindness, and hard work. I thought about my future and all the possibilities ahead. That night, I sat by my window and looked at the stars. The cool breeze and the soft light of the moon filled me with hope. I wrote down my thoughts in a small journal. I promised myself that I would always work hard and treat everyone with respect, just as Mr. Thomas had taught me. Those lessons stayed with me for many years. They helped shape the person I became, and even now, as an old man, I smile when I remember my first job at the fruit shop. That night, I returned to my small apartment with a heart full of memories and lessons learned. I sat by the window and looked at the dark sky, feeling the gentle, cool breeze. I opened my journal and began to write about the day, the smiles of customers, the care in every task, and the quiet pride in doing my work well. I promised myself to always be kind, to work hard, and to value even the simplest moments in life. The next morning, I woke up with a warm heart. I knew that my first job had changed me in many ways. I realized that working at the fruit shop was not just about earning money, but about learning responsibility and finding joy in everyday actions. Mr. Thomas had told me, every fruit has a story, and now I understood that every person and every moment held its own special meaning. I went out, ready to face a new day, carrying with me the lessons of patience, respect, and love. As I walked to the market, I smiled at the busy streets, knowing that life was full of small, beautiful moments waiting to be appreciated. I felt grateful for that first job and for all the experiences it had given me.